Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PokerNews podcast. I am your girl, Sarah Herring, with Jeff Platt, back from beautiful Montreal. Your playground poker room virginity. Please tell me everything. I must know.
You know, it lives up to the hype. I mean, how many times, Sarah, have you heard from other professional poker players, you got to play in Montreal, you got to play at Playground, it's the greatest place, et cetera, et cetera. So I went into it with pretty high expectations, and the place is awesome. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but once you get there, it's sleek. It is a sleek place. The food is good. They have some pretty decent alcohol there, Sarah, for when you are not pregnant. You know, maybe next year you can take a trip. The dealers are absolutely exceptional. They run their tournaments effectively like they do in Europe, basically off an iPad. So, you know, and they have lights behind them so they can call for a waitress on the floor without having to be like, floor, table 62. You know, they just light something up, a floor guy, boom, is there immediately. It's just so well run. It's so efficient. It's such a great place to play. But I didn't come back with a championship belt, which is greatly disturbing.
Really disappointed. I really thought this
you were crushed.
This was one that was going to make sense so that you could bring it back for your Poker Masters work. But tell me a little bit about, I mean, obviously the room is amazing. I saw some of your posts and stuff even on the IG. I'm like, dude, that place just looks amazing. But the event itself was insane. The final table was insane. So even though you didn't win it, which is fine because we'll just save it for the next one.
Right.
But even if you had final table, that it would have been kind of a tough battle.
I think so too. I mean, look at this final. Now this is one, you know, because the pros like to stop so much, they're always coming to. So it's a stacked field in a sense, like you get the best of the best, but you're also getting the recreational players from Canada. So it's a really nice mix, a nice balance. And listen to this final table. You had Mike Leah finishing in 9th, Kelly Minkin out in 7th, former World Series of Poker main event champion Martin Jacobson out in 6th, Chrissy B, Kristen Bicknell out in 5th, more on her in just a minute, Mike Watson out in 4th, Joseph Chong out in 3rd, and it's Jeff Hum, a relative amateur, coming out on top, beating these pretty incredible pros. He's a guy who's like, you know what? I just want to go out and play WPT Montreal and win this championship belt. Kind of like we were talking about, maybe could have been me, you know, last week when we mentioned this. And like, he did it, you know, he effectively shocked the world and got the job done. How about that?
I mean, this is basically for the marketing department of the Party Poker / World Poker Tour team. This is like a total wet dream, right? It's like everybody's watching the final table, all of this like sick roundup of players, and then a relative amateur wins. It's kind of like
that's perfect.
The best of both worlds.
That is absolutely perfect. So I figure we should start with these interviews. We got a couple lined up, and we should start with Party Poker Team Pro Kristen Bicknell. I think she's taken some major steps over the last 2 years. Now, I talked to her before she final tabled. So obviously there's some podcast, you know, run good in her route to the final table, not just because she's an exceptional poker player. She just cashed in 100K for the first time this year. Wanted to ask her about that. So we have a fairly wide-ranging conversation that we were able to fit in on one of the tournament breaks. All right, and just like that, joining us now on the PokerNews podcast, Kristen Bicknell. Kristen, everybody seems to rave about this playground stop. How would you sum up why it is so popular?
Well, for me, I think, you know, in Canada alone, when Playground opened, everyone was so excited here because it was such a, you know, it's a massive poker room. The food, we were just talking about the food. The food here is great. The service is amazing. All the dealers are incredible. There's really not much you can complain about Playground. Montreal is amazing as well if you have time to kind of tour around the city. I took yesterday off, and like there's some cafes. The restaurant scene is incredible. So yeah, I think that Playground has definitely, you know, people are coming from everywhere. You're seeing even like a lot of European regulars are coming for these stops. So they're getting massive, and it's really nice to see. You've been a part of Team Party Poker for a while now. Are you pretty proud of what that company has done over the last year or two? Yeah, it's really crazy how much they've grown, and just so quickly within the last couple of years. when I joined them, I think they were just at the beginning of sort of taking off and launching the Millions Tour. And now with stops, you know, we've been to Brazil, going to Asia, Barcelona, so many places. And then, you know, their affiliation with Playground's been great, and the stops there. And then we have the Bahamas upcoming. And yeah, I'm really proud to be, you know, associated with them. And, you know, we have the live market, and then online is booming too. I mean, their tournaments are massive.
You mentioned Bahamas coming up. What do these next couple months look like for you? Are you going to stop at the Poker Masters for a bit before Bahamas?
Well, I sort of realized the last couple of months that I've been a little tired.
Okay.
And so...
You're allowed to be tired.
Yes. And after 12 years of working really hard, honestly, I usually don't take days off. I realized I might need to do that soon. So I'm looking to close out the year a little bit calmer. Okay. And I'm going to do the CPP, so the Caribbean Poker Party in Bahamas, and EPT Prague. And I don't think Poker Masters, but there's a small chance.
I'm wearing a Poker Go patch.
Sorry, I do love playing there. Okay. If the one thing that stops me from playing is taxes. Being Canadian, I get withheld. Because I really love playing there. It's great. Yeah. So maybe I'll go for an event or two. We'll see.
Good rally at the
end.
end.
I would love to make it, but you know, there's only so much we can do with time.
Okay, that's fair. A couple months ago, Jamie Kerstetter and I were on the call of this Triton 100K when Cal Burns picked up aces, Phil Ivey behind him had kings, Michael Zhang had ace-queen suited, and you had pocket queens and flopped a queen, by the way, and won the hand.
Yeah.
Take me through that hand and just kind of the emotional roller coaster that was.
Well, it was really funny because we are playing shot clock, and I like to look at my cards right when I'm dealt them with the shot clock because, you know, like this hand, it's good to just always, you know, have the most amount of time possible, I think. So I look at my cards right away, and I'm like, okay, I have like 20 big blinds, I think. I don't remember exactly, but it was definitely, I was short.
Right.
So I see Kale opens, Phil shoves, I'm like, oh, here we go. And then Michael, I forget if Michael reshoved,
Yes.
And I was like, can I fold here? And then I was like, I could fold jacks, but I don't think I can fold queens, like whatever, you know, I'm too short. And, you know, Kale's wide. Michael Zhang is certainly a player who's going to not fold a small edge, so he's not going to be overly tight there. And then it was funny because I was like, wow, this sucks. I just keep seeing people's hands, and I'm like, I'm in really bad shape. And then, they dealt the flop, and it was pretty good for me.
Yeah, I'd say that flop was decent.
I'll take it.
Yeah, queen high.
Exactly.
Did it mean something to you to cash in 100K? Like, do you see that as kind of this was the next step in my career or anything of that sort?
Well, it's certainly a really good, I don't necessarily want to say learning experience, but the experience that you get from that is just so valuable because I always look at poker tournaments and poker and putting yourself in stressful situations as like a mental muscle. So I look at it as like, now I had a really good session in the gym and, you know, like I lifted like a weight that was higher than I ever did before. So I think that because I ended up final tabling and I forget where I finished, but
6th, I believe.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember. I know that I didn't, I didn't finish as well as I would liked, but I feel that just the experience of having that, and then hopefully you know, people having maybe like confidence to invest in me in the future in those tournaments, and just feeling comfortable and confident in order to play them. When you're first starting out, you feel kind of slightly intimidated maybe to play high rollers, and then when you get there, I mean, for me, maybe I'm overly confident, but it's kind of like, you know, I can sit and play with Phil Ivey. Like everyone's just getting 2 cards. Like, you know, I don't need to let it psych me out or anything.
Along the investment lines, Kristen, is it kind of cool to you that you can put a package up on State Kings and have a bunch of people just buy, you know, such a small piece? Do you feel like you have a whole team behind you in those situations? Yeah,
that's really cool. I have to say, I only got introduced to State Kings recently, and I'm a big fan of how they're doing everything. I think that as a poker player on my side of it, selling action becomes such a pain. It's ridiculous. You know, you're doing all these transactions and you owe me this much and I owe you this much, and I mean, I think poker players everywhere are probably owed or, you know, owe money kind of the amounts are probably ridiculous for people who've been playing for years and years, because it's so, I don't know any poker player who's really, really on top of their accounting.
Sure.
Kenny Hallert, that's it, okay?
He's the only guy.
Yes, the spreadsheet master. And now, yes. But beyond him, I think everybody's accounting is just a mess. And not to mention that, but maybe what State Kings does do too is opens an opportunity for, you know, to invest in a player who you don't know personally, who you didn't have the chance to invest in because you didn't have that contact. So I'm sure that, you know, people who got to have a sweat in that, and then it being aired on PokerGo and getting to watch it, right?
Yeah,
it's really cool. And then they're getting, you know, someone who I don't know, they're a stranger. They never would have been able to have that sweat. And yeah, it's just the ease of it all is amazing. And I think that then on the viewer, so as a player, it's great. And then for the viewers or the investors, it's really fun because you get to watch it, get to have your sweat, and yeah, I really like what they're doing.
And finally, we'll fit in one big picture question before we send you back to the tables. When you look down the road, 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years, where do you see your poker career at?
Ooh,
or non-poker career?
Sure. Well, definitely. I love poker. I love poker.
Okay.
I don't want to ever give it up. I hope. Okay, in a perfect world, I win some main events. I get a nice bankroll. Yeah. Maybe I could have kids, slow down, but play poker when I could. And yeah, kind of. I always want to be a part of poker, whether it's tournaments, cash games. Maybe I'll start playing some cash games more. I think that that's really appealing to me as well. Definitely traveling from tournament stop to tournament stop is exhausting and hard to do. It's so fun, but it takes a lot of energy out of you. But I always want to do it. But yeah, so I think my goal in the next few years is definitely, you know, acquire a nice financial cushion to be able to maybe have some more flexibility. And then, you know, you've seen like there's some women out there who have kids and play poker, and it's cool because it does offer that flexibility. Like someone who comes to mind is Danielle Anderson.
Yeah, sure.
You know, like I think that some people say it's really hard, but I think what a great if you're able to manage it, it's a great opportunity to be able to, you know, work, provide for your family, and have a little bit of both. So yeah, I think that would be really nice. But yeah, I'm definitely not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm here for a bit.
That sounds good to us. Thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. No problem.
So that is Chrissy B, Party Poker Team Pro. And again, she finished 5th. You can tell that she's just another one of these pros who loves Playground. And I love what she said at the end, Sarah, when we got in that one big picture question, you know, how do you see things playing out in 5 years, 10 years down the road? And she just loves poker, right? So she talked about, you know, taking a step back maybe, but poker's always going to be a part of her life. And I think, you know, you can tell that passion lies within her, right?
For sure. And when I talked to her in Barcelona, her and Alex were both there, and she said, you know, we've just been like grinding. It was like WSOP-E, then this event, then we're here. And she's like, man, and really they were just firing everything, big, you know, high rollers. And she's like, man, I really need a break. And then I can't remember what the very next tournament was, which was like overlapping, and she was there crushing it again. And so it's funny, you know, I think even when they recognize, even when players like her recognize, like, oh, maybe I need to take a break, it's like the love of the game. Just, sorry, dude, there's no chance. We just keep this train.
Right. And so she said that she would only come in for 1 or 2 events of the Poker Masters, if that, because like this was the time she saw to take that break. Let's see if she holds to that.
Has she ever played the Poker Masters?
Yeah, I think she was here last year to play some of the Poker Masters.
Man.
I do believe so.
Representing for vaginas everywhere. You go, girl.
And speaking of representing, not for the female side, but for representing Party Poker, that would be one Mike Sexton, the chairman of Party Poker. You know, he took that step back from World Poker Tour as commentator. He jumped on board with Party Poker. I think he calls the role kind of the glorified ambassador, but he's a pretty modest guy. And I saw Mike before day 2 of WPT Montreal started, so I figured that we should catch up with him.
Love that accent. Let's get it.
And just like that, Mike Sexton joins us on the PokerNews podcast. Mike, what do you think makes this Montreal stop so popular on the tour? You're a big fan of Playground, I know that.
Well, I'm a big fan of it because they do poker right up here. The dealers are the best in the world, top to bottom, no question about it. It's strictly a poker casino. You know, it's not a where you can play craps and blackjack and all that. So they have to do it right to make it well, and they do a phenomenal job of it. They have a tournament section, a cash game section, and now they've just put in a slot section. So poker will start taking a back seat, I know, but still, it's I just love the way they do things here.
What does the relationship between the World Poker Tour and Party Poker make sense for both sides?
Well, it makes sense because Party Poker now qualifies players to come to these kind of tournaments on all events outside the U.S. So anywhere the WPT has a stop outside the U.S., we'll qualify players online, at a cheap price where they can win a satellite or something to get in a big buy-in tournament. So it works out great for all of us.
How would you sum up how you've enjoyed your time so far as chairman of Party Poker?
Oh, I love it. It's just fantastic. It's just been great for me. It's just a fancy name for a nice ambassador. And but truthfully, Party's been great to me. And I love the World Poker Tour. It was hard leaving that job, but it was just an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And they were just starting the Millions Tour at that time, and now we see how big that's gotten. And so it's just working out really well, and I'm just grateful to be involved.
And would you say you're pretty proud of what Party Poker has accomplished over these last couple years?
Yeah, business has gone up 50, 60%, and we're hoping it went up a little more than that, but they're trying hard. They put these Party Poker live events on where they put up these huge, massive guarantees, and in doing so, hopefully, obviously, the players come online to qualify to win seats and packages to go to these events. That's the purpose of it, and it's working out well now. And now that we've got Party Poker dollars now where you can use your money that you win in satellites online to play online events or live events, it's the best of both worlds. So I think players are appreciating the effort that Party Poker's putting in. They listen to the players. We try to do what they want to, and honestly, the events are getting great and have been great, and players love it, and they really appreciate walking the plank and putting those big guarantees, prize pools out there. Rob Young, boy, he's the man, I'll tell you that.
Speaking of these events with big guarantees, we had the Caribbean Poker Party coming up. You feel like that's a really appealing stop for these players?
Oh, it's the most appealing stop on the tour, I think, by far, because it's of the location and the property at Baja Mar Resort. When you walk in that place, you feel like you're walking in the Wynn Casino in Las Vegas. It's the same design, looks like the same place. Same guy must have designed it, but it's a lavish property. It's beautiful, so it's a combination vacation poker event and massive poker event. And now this year we got all the Triton guys coming, so there's going to be massive big games and big guaranteed prize pools and big entry fees of $250,000 from some of this stuff. So, but there's plenty there for the common guys too. There's a lot of 500 buy-in events this time. There's $1,000 buy-in tournaments. So the main event, of course, is the cherry on top, the $10,000 buy-in with the $10 million guarantee. Now, let me tell you something. When you're going off to an island and you don't get one walk-in person, off the street like you do in Vegas, where you might have 80 guys wake up in the morning and say, I think I'll go down and play that today. It doesn't happen when you're on an island. You literally have to bring all the players there. So to put up a guarantee like that, it takes a lot of balls.
And you said it, the Super High Roller Bowl is also coming to the Bahamas. Is that fun for you to sit down and watch just the best of the best go to war?
Yeah, I'm a poker fan like everybody, and I love it, and I scratch my head like most people, wondering where do they get the money to buy into all these events, but they do it, and I salute them because I know how tough it is, and the competition at that level is really, really the best, and but there is a market for it. It's a small market, but there is a market for the big high-end poker tournaments, and they're fun to watch.
And finally, Mike, how's the football betting gone for you this season?
Well, not too bad, because I've been cutting back a little bit there.
Okay.
So my losses are less than usual for sure. My dream one year is just to lose the juice for a whole season one time, and
great. Basically go 50-50.
Where you have fun the whole year and just, but my record, unfortunately, I probably lost 60-70% of the games I bet in my life, seems like. I keep thinking, when's it going to come back where we get back to 50-50? Yeah, sometime it has to do that, but, no, it's, I enjoy it, but I don't go crazy like I used to.
Maybe it's coming up later this season. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure.
Is there a nicer guy, Sarah, in poker than the great Mike Sexton?
I love me that Southern charm. I love me a Southern man. I can't help myself. You're a Southern man, aren't you, Chad?
Oh, yeah. I might be. Might be a nicer guy than Mike Sexton. I don't know. No, probably not. Sexton's great. I think he's a great ambassador for the game. He's so, just so friendly, to every single player, to professional or amateur. He's great to be around. He's great to be with at the table. Speaking of fantastic ambassadors, I had to catch up with our friend Maria Ho. She's playing WPT. She's been crushing WPT over this last year. And we have the Poker Masters coming up. Perfect time to talk with Maria.
You'll just have to. I have 0 in chips, so I don't think that's a good stack. But I don't know. I don't play many tournaments. Okay, let's knock it out so we can send you back. Joined now by one of our friends, Maria Ho. Maria, why do you always want to stop by Montreal?
Well, first of all, the Canadians, they're really friendly.
I
know this is a French-Canadian territory, but still really nice people. And this is a nice card room. This is a nice place to play. I love the city. It's one of my favorite cities. The weather this time around is not as nice as, for an LA girl, know. But yes, overall, it's a good experience.
How would you reflect on how this year has gone for you so far? From the outside looking in, it looks like a pretty good year.
Yeah, I feel like this has been a really great year. I feel really lucky to have made so many deep runs, and I also get to do broadcasting with you and Brent and the faves, with Poker Masters coming up. Just thought I'd mention that. But it's a nice, well-rounded, balanced kind of schedule, and I enjoy being involved in all the different aspects. So yes, I feel like this has been one of my best years in poker from a lot of different aspects, and I feel very lucky.
Does it help you as a player to not burn out because you aren't just playing all the time?
Oh, definitely. I think that when I first started playing, I was so focused on making sure I made it to every event that I always burned myself out. I was constantly playing even when I didn't feel like it, and it affected the quality of my play. And now, with the fact that I do get to take time off with doing some of the other stuff in poker, but also I'm much more willing to give myself that time off when I feel like I need it. So like I said, it's just a good balance, and I think that's actually helped me play better, which has resulted, in some of the deep runs I've had, I think.
Well, you said it. We have the distinct honor of sitting next to Brent Hanks for 10 days in a row during the Poker Masters, though. Why does the Poker Masters stand out to you on the calendar?
Well, it's just a very prestigious event, and all of the events, obviously, that Poker Central puts on has its own little cachet, and it fits into the schedule really nicely. I think that having a couple of high roller series spread out throughout the year gives players and viewers something to look forward to all year round. So I'm excited. And obviously, I heard Brent has some surprises in store, guys.
Some wardrobe tricks.
You guys should get excited.
Yeah, very true. Not to turn this into a Poker Go sales pitch, but I figure it's got to help viewers to just watch the best of the best go to war every single day.
Oh, for sure. And especially because now that there is so much poker content available. Now
I don't mind you sitting in there. It's not very safe. You can actually take a sit properly somewhere.
That's fine. We're about done. Thank you. We'll stand up. Thank you.
So I feel like with the fact that there is so much poker content available out there, I think that this is just something different for viewers. Of course, people will always love to watch WSOP and ESPN and things like that, but to get to watch the best play, especially now that people are studying harder than they ever have, and people are trying to get better at the game more so than they ever have before, what better way than to be able to watch these sickos play? And whether or not you even take home an understanding of what they're doing, it's just really cool to be able to get some kind of insight into how their mind works, because these people aren't out there putting out training courses necessarily, so you don't really get another way to see how they think.
Who's the best tournament player in the game right now?
I feel like 2 years ago somebody asked me this, and my answer is still going to be the same. So this might mean something. Yeah. Usually, the names, come and go and circulate and whatever. But I have to go with Stephen Chidwick still.
Why?
Just because I feel like he studies very hard. So from that perspective, I feel like he's never complacent, and some of the people at the top sometimes do get complacent. And he's obviously very smart. He has a brilliant poker mind, and I think he's had, since he started a family, I feel like he hasn't been pushing himself to play, but every time he comes to play, it seems like he's ready and he's bringing his A game.
And finally, we reflected on your last year. What does this next 12 months or so look like for you?
Well, it's hard to not have high expectations for the next year. I always want to do better the next year than I did the previous one, but I also know how this game works. Yeah. So I'm going to do what I've been doing. I'm going to keep a busy schedule. I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be doing things on the broadcast side, and hopefully, it'll work out even better than it has, and, continue to study and continue to, I love this game now more than ever, which is really good. So I'm just going to continue that uptick, I think.
All right, then we wish you the best. I'm going to go play Caveman Keno in honor of Brent. How's that sound?
Sounds great, because I think Brent wishes he could be here right now.
Sure. All right, thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
So that is Maria Ho. She will be sideline reporting for the Poker Masters, Sarah, and she will also be on the break desk with Brent Hanks and with me, the Poker Masters. It is underway, one of the most prestigious high roller series in the game. And listen to this, Sarah, for event number 1. At the time of taping this podcast, we're about to get into the final table of that event. 97 entries for this 10K. That is the biggest high roller Triple Crown field that they have had over at those Poker Central ARIA events. We have a final table of Chance Kornuth, Tai Ha, Jeremy Ausmus, Isaac Barron is there, Dan Shak, Ralph Wong, Scott Blumstein, the champ is here, and reigning, defending high roller of the year, Sam Soverel. 97 entries. How about that?
Can you please explain to me what we're defining the Triple Crown as in this
Yes,
spot?
that is an excellent question. I believe the Triple Crown consists of the U.S. Poker Open, the Poker Masters, and the Super High Roller Bowl, the Vegas one. I believe there is your Triple Crown.
So it's not anymore an EPT, a WPT, and a WSOP.
I think that can be the Triple Crown, and this can be the High Roller Triple Crown.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay. I like it. And actually,
I like Triple Crowns. Yeah, we need the more the merrier.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But let's just keep them going. And obviously all the tournaments you just mentioned are hugely prestigious and some of the most fun to watch from at least a media spectator standpoint. So yeah, I guess if you're crushing that, you're on a very certain level. There needs to be is there an online Triple Crown too? Like a W Coop, a Scoop?
Probably W Coop and Power Fest. That's Party Pokers, right? So if you win a W Coop, a Scoop, which are both Poker Stars, and we'll figure it out. Work in progress.
You guys let us know.
We'll leave it to the Pocket Fives guys. We'll leave it to Lance and Donnie to tell us what that online Triple Crown is.
Please. And so let's talk a little bit more in terms of Poker Masters. You'll be there, give us the schedule.
Yeah, we can
watch all the deets.
So it is November 5th through the 14th. That would be today at the time of taping this podcast. Available exclusively on Poker Go. The final tables will be re-aired later in the year on NBC, or I guess next year on NBC Sports Network. Have a couple of 10K events to start things off, and I really like this schedule because it goes 10K with No Limit, Pot Limit Omaha. There's a big bet mix. There's an 8-game. Work our way into the 25K section with a couple no limits at the 25K price point, a PLO at 25K. Then we have a 50K no limit, and then the 100K main event. So it's not just a race for that beautiful purple jacket that Ali Amshirovich will be defending, but Sarah, this year, a $100,000 bonus to the winner of the Poker Masters in that purple jacket. And I kind of think that's why it's enticing so many players at the beginning. Some guys who might not have played the later events, or some guys who might just have played the later events, feel like they have a real chance at this 100K, might as well fire all. Or the guys who don't think they would fire the 25K or 50K, let's see how we do in the 10K events. Maybe we can run it up. Maybe we can take it for a spin and go win that extra 100K. I love it.
100K free roll is definitely worth looking at. Not something to shrug your shoulders at. And I think that's a smart move on the part of the team behind the Poker Masters. That being said, I'm sure Ali and Sirovich is like, WTF, guys. Can I get that backdated 100K?
Can I get 50K or something like that, But I do expect to see, so like Stefan Sontheimer won it in 2017 and then didn't win it in 2018. And I think I got pissed off at him on a PokerNews podcast last year. You guys can go back and check it out or whatever. Ali will be here every single day, and I think he'll be rocking the purple jacket as well.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah. Just like in your face. It's like,
and it's like, you know, it's customized, it's fitted, like it's going to look sharp. Brent Hanks will be rocking some purple on the break desk. I'm not sure how sharp he will look.
Let's get serious. Yeah, let's get real. Actually, I was scrolling through Instagram the other morning and my husband was like, oh God, what is that? And it was a picture of Brent Hanks like on a very large person's body, like photoshopped on there. And I mean, yeah, I should maybe be careful about what I'm looking at that early in the morning. It's a terrible way to start the day, Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you
so much.
You know, Steve Buscemi forever, never stop. Well, we need to wrap up some of the most important news stories that we were talking about last week in terms of the World Series of Poker Europe. But before we get to that, I want to give a little shout out to our sponsors, Run It Once. We have an exclusive offer for players who sign up to Run It Once Poker through PokerNews. Sign up and make your first deposit by November 7th, and you will receive 101% net rakeback for your first 7 days following your deposit. Your deposit will also be eligible for 100% matched welcome bonus up to 600 euros. To qualify for the rakeback and welcome bonus, simply sign up through once.run/PNPod. That's once.run/PNPod. Make your first deposit and get splashing. Now, I also think I need to unfollow Phil Galfond and Pharaoh Galfond immediately because I'm wasting a lot of my life watching.
Just because you're so fixated on them? Oh, okay, okay. What? Why?
I was literally watching Farrah get drunk and talk about Botox and shopping on the internet the other day, and I just thought, this is bad. This is bad for me. This is like a lifestyle.
Too captivating for you. Yeah.
I'm just like, why am I not rich and drinking wine and like just spittering off things? Anyways, yeah, so I'm sorry if I unfollow. It's not for lack of interest. It's for, you know, my own sanity. Let's talk about what I would argue is probably the biggest story to come out of the World Series of Poker Europe, although you know how we feel about locking things down post main event. But Daniel Negreanu, boy.
He gets it done. It came down to the very end. It came down to that silly 500 euro buy on Colossus. But after Sean Deeb was eliminated in 11th place, it means that Daniel Negreanu becomes a 3-time World Series of Poker Player of the Year. That is an absolutely incredible accomplishment. Nobody else has won that award twice. And Negreanu gets to 3 before anybody else can get to 2. 24 cashes in World Series of Poker and World Series of Poker Europe. 5 final tables, I believe 2 second place finishes. The man was on fire throughout the summer, and I know it's an honor that certainly means a lot to him, and I think it's very well deserved. Daniel Negreanu, 3-time World Series of Poker Player of the Year. Pretty cool.
It's insane. And I tweeted to Sean and Daniel just a couple days ago because really for both of them, it's so amazing for Daniel. So amazing.
Yeah,
but like we spoke about last week, I'm just, for them both to have come into this series saying I'm going to be Player of the Year and then to finish in top 3 is just unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. It just shows, you know, not only, I mean, for Daniel, even when I was looking at the years it spanned, right? What did you say? It's like 2009, 2013, 2019, something like that. It's, I mean, for someone to be at that point of the game for that long, it's even like we talked about doing Tomko a couple weeks ago, and he said, okay, we'll see where you are in 50 years. I mean, this is like next level to just, you know, every decade or so come in and like scoop a POY. It's really, really impressive. But then also for Sean to say, like, I'm coming in to get back-to-back Player of the Year, to even be in the top 10 2 years in a row, I think is amazing. And I'm just like, what is with these guys?
Yeah, and then to you know, for Deeb, who needed a 5th place finish or better in a tournament with like, you know, 2,700 entries. And so everybody's like, all right, it's over, you know, good game. And then like he runs deep, he makes it to the final day, he finishes in 11th. So yeah, heck of an effort from him. From Robert Campbell, who was the leader going into all of this. Campbell ends up finishing in 2nd place. Campbell was there with a couple of big cashes in Europe. And to go back to Negreanu, I guess it's always the feeling of, you know, never letting yourself be too content or too satisfied with your game. He's somebody who has famously recommitted himself to the no limit hold'em high roller scene a couple years back. He's like, you know what, these German guys, they're better than I am. I got to get to work. And so he's gotten to work. He stays sharp. He stays sharp on all the games. He loves all the games. He has a real passion for it on. I think that passion shined through in his vlogs and his commitment to the World Series of Poker.
And his commitment specifically to getting Player of the Year, like saying in the beginning of the summer, I've taken a look at the sort of algorithm. I've taken a look at the formula. I think I have a good plan of attack going in. I mean, that's just it's like a true poker player, right? He's, instead of just saying, I'm going to play the tournaments that I think I can win, or I'm going to play the tournaments that I think are the most fun. He's like, I've got a goal. This is my goal. Mm-hmm. This is the most effective way to get there. And then that he did get there. And really, especially somebody that I would say at this point in their career, he could really just rest on his laurels if he wanted.
Easily. Yeah.
He could even just play great poker, get better and better at poker, but just play the tournaments that he thinks are interesting and fun. Because this year he even said, right, that he was going to have to play a lot of these low buy-in, big field events in order to win this, prestigious award or whatever we're calling it, to take home this title, and that he normally wouldn't play those events. So it's like he just continues to just push himself, and I'm like, man, we should all be more like Daniel, probably.
Yeah, it's not. he's not just playing these tournaments for money. I mean, you think like the $1,200 cash and the $600, event number 9, no limit hold'em deep stack is going to change his life? I don't think so. You think if he won one of these events for one of the smaller first place payouts, like
100K?
Yeah, 100K. You think that's going to change his life? No, don't think so. He's just committed. He wants it. He wants the win. He wants the title. He wants the honor, and he got it.
And I also think, as we are consistently talking about, it's good for poker to play with Daniel Negreanu, right? So for him to be sitting down at all these tournaments with, maybe buy-ins that are not that spicy or dicey, for him to be, for those players to say, like, I sat down with Daniel Negreanu today, is pretty
right. Because I'm sure a tournament like that $600 one had plenty of first-time World Series of Poker players, and you play next to Negreanu, and he's great. He's very personable, and you walk away with that kind of experience, and you tell your friends about that kind of experience, and maybe 10 of your buddies come out next year and play, et cetera, et cetera. It just builds the game. It's very good for poker. Whereas Sean Deeb would probably just berate your play. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm super impressed with them, and I feel like we've just been really lucky in the poker media and in the poker community lately. We're just talking about, the Party Poker WPT event, the crazy, ridiculous, awesome final table. Then we have the, Player of the Year coming down to Sean Deeb and Daniel Negreanu, which was what we all kind of hoped for. So crazy. And sorry, I don't mean to be like disrespectful to Robert Campbell. It would have been amazing for him, but I'm just,
absolutely,
this is a little more juicy to me. But then even coming to the World Series of Poker Europe final table, it was bananas, right? We had Dario Sammartino, Anthony Zinno, who was still in the race for Player of the Year. And I was just thinking, like, I mean, we're just getting so lucky.
Yeah, the runouts have been pretty good for these final tables. It was Anthony Zinno coming close. He finished in third for almost 500,000 euros. Dario Sammartino finishes fourth. So what a run for him. Becomes the fourth player to final table both the World Series of Poker main event in Las Vegas and the World Series of Poker Europe main event in the same year. He has a second in the Vegas one and a fourth in the Europe one. That much is very cool. Julian Martini finishes in seventh for about 130K. The winner out of Greece, Alexandros Kolonias, comes out on top, more than 1.1 million euros for him.
So crazy. And I did see Poker Central had put up a lot of, fun, kind of interesting hands from the final table, and really sort of different personalities and different play styles. So it was super interesting to see all of that go down. And then, as if we weren't getting lucky enough, we were talking about the snooze fest that is the Colossus finishing after the main event, but then we still had the sweat with Sean Deeb.
Sure.
So we were, paying attention still, at least, to the Colossus. I at least was scrolling through social media periodically when I would wake up in the morning. And then it's our boy, Elky Bertrand Rosvellier, who ships the Colossus. Haven't seen this full ship anything in a while. I love Elky. He's brilliant. He's always just great. I mean, I think he's just great for poker overall, but he has a relationship, I think, with King's Casino. From what I understand, I've seen him there a lot of the times that I've been there. But he's not just dipping into too many poker, tournaments anymore, I would say, and certainly not making a trip anywhere for a Colossus event. So I'm just like, what is going on? We are so lucky right now.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess, he fired the main. He might have min-cashed the main or something. It was like, oh, might as well stick around for this Colossus. He was the one who busted Sean Deeb in 11. So maybe he won't only get the 190K in euros that he gets from winning the Colossus. Maybe Daniel Negreanu will take him out to a nice dinner or something of the sort. So Elky gets the job done. That's his second career bracelet. He now has more than $14 million in tournament earnings.
And this is such a woman thing, but let's get serious. I was like looking at his outfit. He's made more of a transition, right, back into gaming?
Yeah, like esports, yeah.
Because he's always been someone who was known for having a little bit of flair and a little bit of a, like a Ed Hardy type outfit style going on. I'm not sure if that's the appropriate terminology.
Right, would always wear the shades too.
Yes, yeah. And then I see him come in this pseudo jersey thing, and so I have to imagine that he's promoting whatever it is that he's doing in gaming, maybe.
Do you think he's sponsored by Monster also, or like he's just wearing a jersey from one of the esports teams? Because a poker player, that's my dream, Sarah, one day to be sponsored by Monster Energy, who makes those great Ultra Zero. You probably see the white cans, the no calories, no sugar, obviously very good for you in many ways, energy drinks. And so if he's sponsored by Monster, major shout out. It looks like just kind of the jersey that the esports team wears. He does have the Party Poker patch. Of course, he is a team pro over at Party Poker, but I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, me too. And also, if the Yerba Mates are ever looking for someone to sponsor, we got the people for you right here.
Absolutely. A Yerba Mate or Yerba Mate. I think Yerba Mate is absolutely the correct pronunciation there. We'll see you at the World Series, Yerba Mate.
Are ready for you guys. All right. Well, I know that you're very busy. You have to get prepared for the break desk. For those who can't see, Jeff is clean shaven and ready to take this whole thing very seriously. I actually don't know what we have planned for next week. I'm going to have to reach out to some players and see maybe, maybe we should get Daniel on. I feel like it's
a good idea.
Worth talking to Daniel about his escapades overseas if he's interested. Let me know, though, you guys, if you have someone in mind, or let Jeff know at Jeff Platt or at Auntie Chardonnay. We're always interested. I did see someone asking me about how to get back into the Rio after they've been 86th. So those are the kind of messages that I really appreciate. That's
Sarah Herring's got you covered.
Auntie Chardonnay can answer. So I will get back to you, friend. So we'll just look forward to talking to you guys. We'll see you next week. And we will catch you on the flip side. Deuces.
The key to winning big is using every little bit of knowledge to your advantage. At Odds Checker, we give you the edge. Better odds, better picks, and better offers to make you a better bettor. Why settle for less? Quickly compare the odds at every sportsbook to ensure that you're getting the best price to maximize your return. Not only that, but we have experts on every sport, from hoops and football through to soccer and boxing. Our experts analyze the form and study the stats to deliver you totally free picks and parlays. OddsChecker also highlights the most lucrative welcome offers in the industry. If you're looking to open an account, then you are eligible for hundreds of dollars in totally free bets. If you're new to legal sports betting, then we're here to help, offering simple advice to understand betting guides and updates on your state's current legislative situation. Visit us at www.oddschecker.com/US. OddsChecker. Sports betting smarter.